Hello, good morning, everyone. So recently I was solving a DSA problems, and I noticed some things like no matter what kind of problems I was solving, whether it be array, linked list, tree, or graph, or whatever it is, there are two things that I think which is most important. If you start thinking in that terms, you can optimize the solution or whatever the solution that you came up with, you can optimize it. Or if you're not sure, okay, where should you begin to solve this problem? All right, so let's just say some random problems comes and you don't know the solution. I think that these tips will help you, uh, especially getting started the like solution. Instead of just sitting there and doing nothing, you can start thinking in these terms, or especially use these tips so that you can at least start to beginning this like thinking about that problem. All right, so what do I think is that traversal of some kind, this is the number one tip that I want to give you, or anyone who's trying to solve the DS related problems and who doesn't have this intuition, like who is just struggling to solve the problems. Like if some like random problems comes, like if some pattern related problem comes that he already solved that, then it's not a problem. But some different little bit problem comes, um, somebody who struggles basically with that. So I think you should think about this traversal of some kind. What do I mean by that? Let's try to understand. No matter what problems you try to solve, let's just say tree, graph, or linked list or anything, if I say find me this, you can't just look that like on the, like, let's just say in that diagram there's a tree and I said okay, find me five. Does five exist in this tree? This is my question. I know this is very basic question, but let's try to understand that. So you can't just tell me okay, five exists, yeah, I can see it. But in the computer you can't just say that. No, you have to like know something, like how do I know whether five exists or not? So you have to go. And how do I go? Well, you have to go one by to each element, and if you see okay, is this element equal to 5, is this element equal to 5? So how do you go? Well, this is called traversal, right? You need to travel from one point to another, an entire tree or graph or array or linked list, right? So you need to think like that. So if we talk about array, then we know that it's like standard. There are two three things we can do, like normal for loop from one to end. You can just go for loop, and we can use the binary search. But depending on the input type, you can use binary search if the array is sorted, or if you need some kind of like decide okay, eh, make the solution okay. I know for damn sure that if I'm in this index and this is the value, then I know that answer exists either left or either right. So in this case situation, you can apply the binary search. So you need to think that. And inside the tree, if you talk about, there are two three types of traversal, like pre-order, in order, and post order. All of these are doing the same thing. They are going on each node in the tree, but the way they are going, right, it's very important. So most of the problem will be get solved if you start thinking in that term. Okay, okay, so you need to understand, okay, this is the problem that answer this is what the answer I should give them to. So what can I do? So you can think, okay, I need to travel for this problem because I can't, I will never be able to know that by hand before and just looking at it, because there's no formula. I mean, sure, there will be problem where you can just apply the mathematical formula, but most of the time, like 90% or 99% of the time, you need to go or visit the each node to know the okay, what is the value or whatever the problem you are solving, right? So you need to think about the traversal. So some kind of, I need to go from every node. So I need to find which one would be better for me. So you start thinking, okay, pre-order. So let's just say if I do pre-order, what will happen? Okay, if I do pre-order, this is how I will go. Can I make the solution while I'm going like this? No, or then go to in order, then go to post order. At least you made some progress, right? So that is the number one thing that I will tell you, or I will tell anyone who's starting to solve the DSA related problem, that think about if you get stuck, like you have no idea what to do, and if the problem, then think about okay, what kind of traversal that I need to visit. Then how can I do that? Like if I'm going like this, okay, let's just say, then what can I do with that? So think about that. Trust me, you will make some progress. I guarantee you. Second thing, marking the node or index. Now this is very important. See, most of the time, or if not all the time, what happens is that we need some information. Let's just say you are in the middle of the tree, and then you need information. Okay, did I visited this index previously, or is it a first time? So how will you know? Well, you need to know the, like you need to store some values, right? Or maybe you are going in an array and you trying to find the five. So how will you know whether I already seen the five? Because you need to store. There is no other way. Think about it. Like how will you know? Like you are going from 0 to end, and in the middle you came to the value of like 5. But how will you know this is the 5 that is first time or second time? Because you didn't store, so you need to store. Think about logically, right? So you think, okay, now you're thinking, okay, I need to store the values, meaning I am increasing the space complexity. Simple as that. I need to store. So how can you store? Well, there are two three ways. First, you can store separately. You can store it in like proper space, like you can store in hash table or whatever, depending on the your problem, like what is the best way to store your information so that you can utilize it later. But the idea is you need to store the value so that you can know in the future, right? Most of the time this is what happens in the tree. We are doing solving the problem. Okay, did I uh, come come across from like this particular pattern earlier, or is this the first time? This is the question that you will be asking most of the time, and this is how you solve the problem. So you need to store the value, right? And now second thing you can do is you can store in place also. Like, so sometimes what happens is that the problem statement is something like that, space complexity is much more important. So what you can do is the interviewer or anyone, like, it's a trade-offs, right? So what you can do is, okay, you can, like, for example, if I say there's an array and it's a positive numbers, let's just say. So what you can do is you can play with their data type also. Like, for example, or their you can make them negative if the value is positive. So if the value are, all the values are positive and some values are negative, then you mean that you have marked them something, you have marked them, right? And this is important so that you can differentiate, is it a first time or second time. This is what you need, like you need some kind of information from the input so that you can make a decision based on that. Okay, this is minus, but I know that the entire input was positive and this is negative value, meaning something happened here. It depends on you what the problem you are solving, but you have marked it, you have previously marked it negative, meaning some you have been there before. So these are the two tips that I give to all the people, or like juniors or whoever is trying to solve the DSA problem. Trust me, if you start thinking in their terms, you will make some progress. At least you won't be just sitting there and staring the screen. All right, and slowly, once you start solving this question, it becomes so intuitive that sometimes even the problem statement won't make sense. Like, for example, if you know the linked list, store the next value. So if I draw the lines like in the copy, okay, solve this linked list. Trust me, most of the time what happens is that we make any random input, but the input is not valid, and this is a problem. Yes, because in next, like, you can store only one next, right? So once you know deeply that, okay, what is exactly happening on the root level, okay, right? Because in tree it's not like tree type, right? Like, there's not actual tree in the computer, it's just an array. But the way we move on the array, like, for example, if you have one, then we go two and three, and then we go two plus, remember that how do we make the tree? 2 into I plus 1, 2 into I plus 2 is left node, right node. It's like an array, exactly. Deep down it's an array, just it's just the way we are moving it. So it's not like exactly tree there. So once you understand these patterns, you know, okay, I need to traversal the array. That's it, simple as that. So you, there are some formulas, so you need to move around them. In the graph is also same, DFS, BFS, meaning graph is like a simple, and you just need to go from each node, and while marking the values, you need to store some values, like stack queue or hash table, whatever suits you. But this is what you are doing, or anyone who is solving the problem is doing, because deep down we all know that this is the method that will be used. There's nothing algorithm for every problem, there are some generic questions. All right, but we need to understand the intuition behind them. But if you start solving, but I feel like if you start solving problem from this perspective, you will make a great progress. So yeah, that's it in this video. I just wanted to share it with you guys, and I hope you like the video. So thank you so much. I will see you in the next video.